Hi there, my name is B. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to continue with the game controller and improve how we spawn the platforms from the last video. Remember, in the last video we have 3 platforms and we were just simply spawning them with a random. So we pick a random between these 3. Today we're going to improve that and apply a technique that I consider is very interesting for all sorts of things. You can apply that to AI, you can apply that to random elements, and I like this technique a lot. It works very well. So what we're going to do today is apply a weighted probability. So we're going to have all of these platforms and we're going to have a weighted randomness. So we will apply some percentage to one of each of them, so we'll spawn them with that percentage instead of just randomly. You can get the project files if you support me on Patreon. And also please subscribe to my channel. It will help. In the last video we only used these 3 ones. In this video, we are going to include also these 3 more. The difference between these small bridges and this one is I built this bridge is right in the middle, this one is on the left, and this one is on the right. So as if we spawn one of these right in the center, we will have something similar like that. If we pick this one, which is right in the center, we will have that bridge over there, and this is for the right side. So we will end up with situations like this. So we have a huge hole right there so the player can fall. If we go to the blueprint for the game controller, remember we have a platform table with all of the blueprints right there. We have the enum with all the types. Small center bridge, small left bridge, and right bridge are those 3 ones that I added. You can add more if you want to increase the logic and apply more game logic. And finally, for each of them I have the probability percentage. So for the ground bridge, for these 2 I have 50%. This means that 50% of the times we will get one of each. And for the rest we have less percentage. For 2 bridges, which is this one, we'll get a less probability. And for the these 3 ones, I set this value to 20. So we will have less frequency for these platforms. Let's move on now to the code. We're just going to edit the game controller. And remember, in the begin play we had this initialized game, which is the one that spawns the initial 7 platforms, and also we had this spawn new platform to do the job when the player reaches one of the platforms and destroys one of them and spawns a new one. And remember, we were using pointers to link between the platforms. So I'm just gonna open the initialized game and show you what I did. Previously, what we had was this loop to spawn platforms. We had this code just to spawn a new platform with just a random. Now we're going to apply a couple of rules plus that weighted probability. And for that, I created 2 new methods. One is get platform type to spawn, and simply get the module by type, which is to get the blueprint that I'm going to spawn. This method is the one that it will give us that weighted probability, and it will give us the next platform to spawn. So for the initialized, we just need to change that. I also have that rule on the tick. So remember, on the tick, when we are running and the runner character reaches the platform to check, which remember is the one that we want to see it's a platform that gives us if we need to spawn a new one and destroy a previous one and spawn a new one in the right place. So this code calls spawn new platforms, and I had to do exactly the same, which is before we have the random. With the random, we go through the table and we get the blueprint. Now we just need to call this get platform type to spawn and get the module type. Last thing I added to today's video is just one element for the gameplay, and is to allow to be able to lose the game. So if I go to the tick, I added this piece of code, which basically means that if the character is under the floor, which is that ocean that goes along with the player will stop running and we will set the game as a game over. So we'll completely stop the game as soon as we fall on one of those holes. First, let's check how we can get the blueprint to spawn with this method. So this method is super simple. It just receives a type of platform, and returns the blueprint that we want to spawn. And all I'm doing is go through all of the elements on that table that is in game controller, and if I detect that the type is the same, I just return the platform class, which, remember, is just the blueprint. That's it. Now, if we go back to spawn new platform, remember this is exactly the same code for initialize platform. The new type that we're gonna pass as a parameter in get module type is returned by the get platform type to spawn. And this is the important one. As a parameter, we are sending the previous platform and the type of the previous platform. That's why I decided to add even more rules to how we spawn the platform, because I don't want to have any weird situations where we have some bridges. For example, we have one of those small bridges on the left, and the next one is one on the right, so there is no really path in the middle. So to prevent those kind of errors, I have different rules. So let's go to the code. Okay. So first thing is I'm gonna create a temp table to add all of the possible platforms that we can spawn each time. So I have these two rules. If this platform time, which is the previous one, is one of this type, which are the ground, the bridge, and two bridges, so there is no holes in the middle, they are just the platforms that. If we have any of these, the temp table will contain absolutely all of them. Also, it will include these three plus these three ones. So we will have a platform on this table. If the previous platform is one of those small ones, we're just gonna get a random between these three ones to prevent that situation that I told you. And this is just to check, just in case there was an error or something like that, we will get the ground one. Okay, and finally, the weighted probability. Very simple. So I'm gonna show you a graphic, a picture. Okay, the weighted probability. Here we have all of the platforms with all of the probabilities. And this is the total. If we add all of them, we have 190. So platform 1, platform 2, platform 3, all of them are right there. So if we represent this with this rectangle to represent all of the percentages that we can get, we see that the platform 1 and platform 2 take the most space. Then 3, 4, 5. There is no 7, sorry about that. But the rest of them, platform 3 will be 30, it will take less space. and then 4, 5, and 6 will take 20%. So this is how the algorithm works. Basically, first we need to add all of the elements and get the total. Over that total, we get a random. So we will have something from 0 to 190. And next thing, we need to go to loop through all of the elements and get its probability. So for example, let's take the case of we get 70. What we do, we go through all of them and we check if the current platform, for example this one, the probability, the random that we got from that sum, so the 70 is less than this one. In this case, it will be a no. So we subtract this value from that random. So it's 70 minus 50, we will get 20. So next time in the loop, we will check again. Is the new random less than the probability? Yes, because 20 is less than 50. So we will get this platform too. So that's how the algorithm works. Now, if we now go to the code, that's what we have. We have the total for all of the probabilities, in this case is the table. And we just get a random point between 0 and that total. And we do that loop, and we ended up with an index platform, which will be whatever it is. So that's what we return. Whatever we get from here, we will return that. And this piece of code right there is just in case we didn't get any kind of platform, so we just get the last one. We could have just get the ground one. And yeah, that's how it works. So we will get a type, we will use this to get the blueprint. Now, if we go to initialized game, I have one more thing that I added for the first time we spawn things. In this loop, what I remember this platform count is a counter that I use to count how many platforms I spawn, and this could be a difficulty level, for example. So if the number of them are less, or 3 at least, I'm just gonna get a random between ground and bridge. This is because I decided that the first platform, I want always to be ground or bridge for have a better visual at the beginning. But it's not really necessary. If the platform count or difficulty, if you want to call it, is more than that, we will use that method. One of the things I like about this method is you can apply this to all sorts of things. You can apply to enemies, for example, to have random but in a controlled way. I don't know, I've used this method many times. And one thing interesting about this is the way you can increase the difficulty of the game is just increase the probability of those platforms or reduce them. For example, let's go back to the probability. What you can do, you can very easy difficulty at the beginning and have this and this as 80, for example. So you will always get this one. And when you have more platforms, you can reduce these values over time and increase the probability for the rest. So you will have more difficult paths. Finally, let me show you how all of this works. So as you can see, for now, as the game starts, we only have a few like the bridge and the other one, and then we start seeing the rest of the type. So we keep having the same, and now we have centered a small bridge. After that, we have 2 bridges, then we have one on the left. Keep going, and that's it. And now let me show you, because if I fall, player will stop running and it will be game over. That's it for today's video. In the next one, I'm not so sure if I'm gonna start doing the UI and include a small UI with the game with the flow of the game, which is game over, respawn, and all of those things. Or maybe have the counter of the how many meters have you made before you fall, or spawn coins. I will see. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, share, like, and thanks to my patrons. See you next time on the next video. Bye!